You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online, and my name is Andrew Mackay-Smith. Hope you're well. Hope you are doing really well, especially due to this bloody COVID-19 pandemic that is happening. Wherever you are in the world, please look after yourselves, your family, and particularly the elderly. We have a long way to go before we're out of it, unfortunately. Certainly that's the advice that medical professionals are issuing through governments at the moment. However, down to the matter at hand, we have a conversation coming up for you. It is with Rodrigo Carvalho, and he's from the Atlanta, Georgia-based, I suppose they're a metalcore / death metal outfit, Irist. There's a lot more going on, as you will discover through the conversation. We do dive deep into the origins and distill the band's sound. They have a brand new album out for 2020. Do check it out, and I mean that. It is a very... it's intense. Again, we talk about that through the conversation. Either way, it's called Order of the Mind. So here he is, Rodrigo Carvalho from the Atlanta, Georgia-based outfit, Irist. Hey, Rodrigo, Andrew Mackay-Smith calling for our chat. How you going?
How you doing?
Good, mate. Are you surviving the zombie apocalypse over there?
Exactly, right? Yeah, we're hanging out a lot and just trying to write as much as we can and wait for this thing to, cool off.
Oh, it's a very strange time, mate. You're in Atlanta, are you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Is downtown just completely devoid of human activity? Have you seen that?
Yep. It's kind of good because in a way the city is so bad, the traffic is so bad that now you can actually go places. Not much is open, but at least you can. At least it can, not stay. It doesn't take 30 minutes anymore from one block to another.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit like that here in Brisbane City actually at the moment. I went in there yesterday because we've got local elections on at the moment.
Oh wow!
And they're still going ahead, which is dumb. But I thought, well, I'm not really sure whether I'll get a fine or not if I don't vote. So I thought I'd better go in and vote. And just walking around, everybody's keeping 1.5 meters from each other. There's that aspect ratio of 6 feet, 1.5 meters, and it's and there's hardly anybody in the city centre itself. All these retail shops are open, but nobody's actually in them. It's very bizarre. It's very apocalyptic.
Oh, did you guys run out of toilet paper too?
Well, yeah, I think that craze started here in Western Sydney, unbelievably. But no, yeah, I wouldn't say we ran out, but it was very hard to get for a period of time. I think it is still very hard to get at the moment, actually. Is it the same over there for you guys?
Yeah. I thought that was kind of strange, but I thought there would be other priorities in an apocalyptic scenario, but
that's
I'll
right.
take it. Yep.
Yeah, crazy. And you're originally from Brazil, is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Have you seen Bolsonaro? So he's saying that it's
that guy's insane, man.
Yeah,
He's just insane, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just fucking crazy. Yeah.
Where's your is your family? Whereabouts are they based? What city?
What was that again?
What city in Brazil are your family in? Like where are they based?
I have family in. Oh, I'm from a really, really small town. It's in a state that is also very small. It's right above Rio.
All right, gotcha.
But the closest big city from it is called Vitória. It's the capital of my state, and
okay.
it's about like 1.5 million people.
Wow. Okay.
So,
yep. I suppose. Yeah. I mean, what can you do? Brazil's got a fair amount of people in it too, as the United States does, and people are just going to do what they want to do anyway. And when you got your president there saying, "Go out and," it's not I don't think he said it wasn't as serious as what people are saying, but he's saying that life needed to go on. I think was his point. And people are sort of going, "Yeah, you're right. Let's go out and just do what we've done before." It's like, I don't know whether your health service is going to cope with all of the sick people.
Yeah. So, that guy's weird, man. Like he was calling the whole thing like hysteria, and he was basically asking people to just continue to work because he was more worried about the economy. And not having not having businesses open and all that would be worse than, the virus, which is so irresponsible because, I mean, first of all, he doesn't know that. And second, all countries are taking pretty much, measures to alleviate the crisis, stimulus packages and things like that to rescue the economy. And it's the whole world feeling that. Everybody's going to feel that to some extent, but then if you crunch the numbers, you get close to a lot of people dying of this. So you don't want to put your family at risk in cases like that. You just try to find other ways to overcome the crisis.
Yeah, very good points you make there, mate. Yeah. Look, let's pivot here and let's talk about this music. This album here of you guys. Order of the Mind. First word that came to mind when I had to listen to it was, holy shit, this is intense. It's look, and that's easily the most prominent aspect when it comes to summarising the album for somebody in as succinct a manner as possible. Now, I didn't have. I've got to say, I didn't have much background on you guys, except that you were rated very highly by Nuclear Blast. So I knew that to be picked up, and I think. You kind of remind me, and I was talking to John Howarth last night about this. You kind of remind me of a cross between Sepultura, Killing Joke, and Amur. But the guitar parts are fairly straightforward, so I quite like that about what you guys are doing. So, and I think your vocals, mate, are industrial strength. They're actually, it's one of those albums where I'd even call it a vocal album in that your vocals are the most prominent feature. So would you?
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Would you agree with what I've just said there? Does that make sense?
I think what you said makes a lot of sense. We grew up. A lot of us grew up listening to Sepultura, and even though we don't. That's not the only band. And the other bands that you mentioned, I don't think are direct influences, but there are some to the way we sound and the similarity. So yeah, I love the way you described it. In fact, when I was asked that question first, I used the exact same words that you did just now. I said intensity. Yeah, I said so. I think you're reading it exactly the way that I read it. If I distance myself to the listener. So yeah, I think you're dead on on the way. I mean, I don't know about the vocal thing. I thank you and all that, but I don't know about that because I feel like I'm too immersed in it to make a judgment. But yeah, I think that's a good way. That's a legit way to see it.
Well, I also like the dynamic and the songwriting. Now, I'll dive quite deep here on this point because at the 207 mark of Burning Sage, The Cleansing, you really dial it back. You know when you really dial it back and you've got that Deftone sound going on. But it's Deftones often find a bit limp at times, whereas you guys have still got that white knuckle intensity that I think heavy metal really needs to be heavy metal, and when you dial it back, it still sounds as though all hell's about to break loose, and I think that's the point there when I say that white knuckle intensity. So is that something that you've really had to work hard at as a band to craft, or is it something sometimes people are just lucky, like yourself or your guitarists are just lucky and you can craft these sort of with this kind of dynamic without trying too hard, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that does. I think the answer to that is kind of it's kind of unavoidable for us to not do something so intense because our personalities are kind of like that. We're pretty ADD, if you will. We're very intense. We don't stop. We don't sit still. We're very. I think I would say intense people too in many ways. So it's definitely not a conscious thing. I sometimes ask myself if we are actually capable of writing more chilled kind of music. I don't know if we are. I think everything is always going to come out pretty intensely. So yeah, it's not crafted to that. Having said that. When we write songs, we tend to, we do spend time on them. We do consider, the song structure, make sure it flows, and make sure that it's never boring. Because, that's the last thing we want our music to be.
Yeah, sweet. No, you're definitely not boring, that's for sure. It's it's music that I think you probably need headphones to fully appreciate as well. It's not really the sort of music that I did have it on in the car, and whilst I was enjoying it, I found that I wanted to lean in a lot closer to my speakers and actually listen to what was going on. So there's a lot of ear candy. You know what I mean? You've done a lot of work to put a lot of variation within the music, and you just really have to take some time out and focus on it. So who was the producer that you worked with to really get that clarity on the recording?
So I think you're dead on everything you're saying.
Sweet. Yep.
We normally spend like a good amount of time in each song, and by the time we go to the studio, the songs have been demoed, and sometimes take a break from them, listen to them again, figure out. We do a lot of pre-production, and we work very hard on that. But the final touches were really given when we went to Southampton, the UK, and we worked with Lewis Johns, a producer.
Yep.
Really cool guy. In the end of the album, pretty much is a friend of ours, and he was also very instrumental for some of that ear candy that you mentioned, and that clarity that you mentioned during the album. It's really, really great to work with.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, no worries. And was he somebody that you handpicked, so to speak, or the label suggested? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we came across Adam actually. Came across Conjure's last album, Meyer, and he was the one that produced it. And we really absolutely loved the sound of the drums in that album. And I think that was the key factor, key reason why we wanted to work with him. We just absolutely loved the Conjure album, and then we started digging deeper into the other stuff he did, and we also liked it a lot. So that was the reason why we went there.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Now, look, mate, we kind of touched on this at the beginning of the conversation, but and we were talking to an artist from a band called Gotthard last night about the exact same thing. But I mean, touring really is the lifeblood of a heavy metal band, and you can't do that possibly for the next 6 months to 18 months. We just don't know how long this bloody thing's going to go on for. So have you guys talked about, just in the few days that we've all been in lockdown, how you plan on spreading the word on this album? Because, man, I really not like to see this album disappear into the abyss and be one of those albums that sort of came out like, I don't know whether you're old enough to remember what 9/11 was like, but a lot of albums that were released in late 2001.
Oh, yeah, I was.
Yeah, a lot of albums. Well, you know what I'm talking about then. People have got other priorities sometimes. And how do you guys plan on spreading the word now that you can't tour?
That's a great question. The thing is, I don't know. I hope that you're wrong about the 6 months thing.
Likewise.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
We right now we're just like observing and seeing how things are going to develop. I think there's so much that can still happen, for good and for bad, that is very hard to make plans. We haven't even considered a scenario like that yet because it's so far away. Our initial plan, and nothing has been announced. We're just the only thing that was announced was Damnation Fest in the UK.
Yep.
That was going to be October, November. But before that, we had some plans, which could include July. We're still hopeful that it could happen. Nothing's been released yet officially, but we're still hopeful that it could happen. I mean, we honestly, the way to answer the question is, honestly, we wouldn't know what to do just yet. We have to talk to our management and talk amongst ourselves and figure something out. But as of now, in a way, people are in lockdown, people are staying home, and social media is still being instrumental for us. We have been able to get good feedback and a lot of people responding to our stuff. So far, it's still under the manageable kind of period. After that, we have to wait and play by ear.
That's all you can do, mate. That's literally all you can do. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
It's
sadly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very strange, mate. Every single tour anywhere has been cancelled because it has to be, and there's going to be a scramble once everything's back up again, and there's a semblance of normality to rebook tours, mate. So it's I mean, I think the whole year feels like it's getting lost from a productive standpoint, but that's hopefully the least of our troubles. To be honest with you, it's yeah,
Yeah. The thing too, like we feel in a way, we feel kind of lucky. We feel really bad for some bands that are already like traveling and they already had made commitments with touring. That's a lot of the revenue they get from. So in a way, it was kind of like we're sad about it and all, but we're feeling really bad for other bands too. They got it much worse than we did.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. No, I can definitely. Yeah, some of these bands have invested a lot. Printed tour T-shirts, had tours cancelled. Yeah,
exactly.
and booked plane tickets that they're probably going to. I mean, I don't know, mate. Lost deposits, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's tough enough as it is without this sort of thing going on top of it. But, mate, as heavy metal has always found a way to forge forward, it will find another way to forge forward in that regard again. It's the one genre.
Yeah, you're dead right.
Yeah, it's the one genre, mate, that people are so passionate about. They will never. Heavy metal and jazz, they're the two things that will always be around. I firmly believe that.
Yep.
And classical, I
suppose.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Mate, I think that's it for my time, mate. Look, congratulations on the recording. You can tell I'm a fan. I'm enjoying it. Just good luck with everything. Stay safe, mate. And when all this bloody dust settles, as I say, mate, hope to see you guys in Australia.
Oh man, that would be like a dream come true. I actually have a cousin living in Sydney too, and
awesome. Yeah,
I truly appreciate your time.
No worries at all, brother. Well, as I say, good luck with everything, mate. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll chat soon.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Catch you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. You've been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith. That interview subject you just heard from was Rodrigo Carvalho from the US-based outfit Irist. Thanks so much for listening.